Welcome, everybody. Today's webinar I'm very excited about. We're going to be talking about learner analytics in dashboards. And the program that we're using to get these analytics in dashboards is Zoola. And eClass for Learning is a full solution e-learning provider. And this is one of the products that we can provide for LMSs. So let's get started. I'm excited. My name is Dr. Tammy Frame, and I am the Chief Education Officer at eClass for Learning. And I put some sample dashboards together and for us to play with today. So the LMS that we're using today is Totara, but Zoola can work in lots of LMSs. It can work in Moodle, it can work in Canvas, and essentially works the same way. So I'm demoing in Totara. So let's first talk about what a dashboard is. A dashboard is an area with widgets on it that can be configured either by the site admin or if the site admin allows it by the user as well. And so you can see that I have permissions to manage this dashboard. I'm in as a site admin right now. And so I'm going to customize this page would allow me to do that. But I can also manage all of my dashboards with this button. So I'll just kind of go here. And then you can see I have multiple dashboards that I've set up. I have one that's available to all logged in users. And by the way, a person can have more than one. I have a manager dashboard, and I also have another one, and I've assigned these to certain audiences. So Totoro allows for audience-based dashboards. And I think in the future I will do a more in-depth webinar on audience-based dashboards and how to set them up. I'm going to go back to our main one that I was working on and talk about some things that how I've gotten learner analytics in there. And by the way, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them. If I can't answer a question, we'll look up the answer and get back to you. Today's webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording as well. Okay, so if I want to look at some of the things that are going on here, I've embedded some reports that are in Zoola. And when they're embedded, there's some pretty neat functionality in there. So I'll kind of talk about that. First of all, you can filter the reports right in the block. So a pop-up will show up of what is available to filter by. So if I wanted to, this one's about logged in users, and it shows how many times these users have logged in. If I wanted to focus on just one, I could do that. I could also do it by position if I wanted to see how certain positions are logging in and using it. Another interesting one is to look at by the manager, and it would be anybody assigned to that person and how their users are doing as well. So if I go to myself and I go to OK, let's just see how it dynamically changes. And yeah, here it comes. And it's coming. And it might be that there wasn't any data there. So let's deselect all. That's probably the issue. Seeing that this is a demo site, these aren't real people. We could also do it by a division in the hierarchy, and we could also do it by number of months, okay? And so I'll reload this without filters. You can export this report right from the block into a PDF or Excel, or you could send it as an email. If you want to get like the exact number, you can click around and it will tell you that. Another really cool feature is if I want to zoom in on just a couple months like so, I can zoom it or reset the Zoom. So that's pretty neat too. So this one I just did as a quick one to show how it would look. It's an active users report. Here I have one on time spent learning. Another button that I forgot to show is you can change this one, the chart types too, and how you view that, especially if you like certain ones. So let's go to that. And, all right, maybe that one. Oh, it came up over here. Sorry about that. So this one we had that way. What if we were to do it as a line in area? Let's see if I can get it to switch. Try it one more time. Oh, it's just slower than I am. Okay, so this one, I might not have had enough data to make it go. Let's put it back to what it was. We'll try another chart type with the other one. That one might work a little bit better for us. If it's coming. Oh, it keeps going up here. All right. And there it goes. Okay. Yeah. There. And so now we've got it back to the bar. Let me get rid of this one. Let's change this one just for the heck of it. That wasn't so smooth. Let's um let's do this one with line and area. I think that one might look kind of good that way. And it just takes a second. Yeah. So now we can see it that way. And okay. And loading. Yeah, so you do have, the user can have different ways of looking at it and filtering it right within the block. And I love how flexible and fast it is. If you want to add one to these blocks, let's do that. Go to customize this page, and from here, it's retrieving our data. You would go to add to block, which is how you add blocks in here. And once Zoola is installed, you can go, here it comes back, okay. We can go to Zoola reports. And from there, um, we have to configure it as the next step. So it knows it's that type of block. And so we go to the configure, and okay, so you might want to rename it the type of report you want. So I'll just put Learner Analytics because I don't know which one I'm going to choose yet. We'll want to run the report right in the block, and we'll want to fit the report into the block so you don't have to resize or anything like that. And then these are my available reports. Now, um, Zoola comes with a whole bunch of them, and some of them I created. And so if you create some, because it has a drag and drop report builder that we'll look at in a little bit, you can just do that. So let's see if I can, um, well, I won't take the time to pick one now, but we'll pick one, let's say, chart view report, and you add it. And then there are other fields. So you can also decide if only you're going to give permissions for certain people to see that report in that block. You could also do it by certain audiences can see it if you want to. Okay. And then you can have the regular things of where you want that block to appear on your dashboard. Okay. So that's how you get a block onto your dashboard. Now, on the side, too, I made some additional dashboards that have to do with learner analytics that you might be interested in. And I thought we could go through those and look at the kinds of analytics that I got about learners that might be helpful to you. And then after that, I thought we'd go into Zoola and I could show you how I made some of these. Okay, so that's kind of the exciting part. I think it's so fun how dynamic it is. So the first one I actually made myself. It's the first dashboard in Zoola that I made. It was very easy to do. And I think this might be the one that we'll recreate. It's called an administrator dashboard. And I already opened it, so we wouldn't have to have it spin for a second. In here, what I chose to show in the dashboard is I'm thinking that this dashboard would be for somebody who's maybe the head of learning for an organization, and maybe they have to do quarterly reports. I get a lot of requests in Moodle and Totara, how can I get things like this? So I tried to pick reports that I often get questions about. So this one shows how many people were logging in per month, and you can expand any of these and look at them, which is kind of cool. And then when we're in Zoola, we can also have these scheduled if we wanted to. So you could have them emailed at different intervals to different people, and that's often how managers like to look at things as opposed to having to log in the LMS. Here's a course enrollment view, and I chose the chart view. I could have also had the table view. Here's the active users, which we already kind of looked at on the front page. But then I also put in some tables. I know a lot of times people want to know certain statistics of numbers of users, and this one will count it. So I kind of like that one. And then how many are enrolled in different courses and who's enrolled in what courses. Um, so that was another one that I embedded. And later I'll show you how I made that dashboard. Okay, another example of one that I made was the instructor dashboard. And this one is one that's ready-made. So there's a lot of ready-made dashboards that you can also include from Zoola. So I didn't make this one. And this one, you could put all of your teachers in an audience or your instructors, and then they could all be assigned this one, because what you do is you pull down the course that you want to see. And so we'll start with this one. So then there's a block that shows how many users were enrolled in the course, how many were active, how many completed it, what percentage of it was complete, and the average grade. I love this one. Users who have not accessed the course in the last 7 days. So this could be very useful to teachers. And then this could be on their home dashboard linked. I also like this one, just how visual it is, how many have completed, how many have not completed. And then the heat map is really cool. It kind of shows how many users were at a specific time. So we had about 18 users on Thursday. Um, let's do another course and just kind of see the difference. So we'll go to this one next, and we'll see it all dynamically change. All right, so nothing for Franklin. There might not be data for that one. Let's try another course and see resource not found. Let me just refresh and load our dashboard again. There it comes. Okay, let's see if we can't get a course with other statistics. Like I said, there's not a lot of data on the site, but yeah, okay. So here we've got more people that haven't logged in. Um, and here we have a more interesting heat map. Then we can see that Fridays seem to be a real hot day, and Wednesdays, for example. And we can always bump these out and look at them more in detail too, to make it easier to view. This is the next one is one that I made. It was more learner analytics that I thought an instructor might look like. And instead of making it this time where you pull down the course, I made it specific to a course that I'm teaching. So one thing you could do is you could have instructors pick the reports and make their own dashboards of what analytics they want to see. So one that I did is forum statistics. I use a lot of forums in my classes, and I kind of want to see how that's going and who's participating and who isn't. So that's a really nice view if you've ever taught an online course. I thought there's a lot of them about quizzes, and I just picked the quiz statistics. And this kind of gave me, I like, again, one of the things that Zoola does that we don't have reports for in Moodle and Totara by themselves is time tracking. And there are a lot of time tracking reports. So I like, how often, what the average grade was, and what the average time spent on it was for this. That was interesting analytic for me to understand. Um, Here's how much time people were spending in my course in various months. Here was a grade by activity. And as I'm doing course design, maybe there's one that people have a lot of trouble with, and maybe I'd redesign or give more direction or scaffold more. So seeing by the different activities how people are getting grades. Um, and then this was the table view of the graph above in case I wanted to see that. But I could kind of see the learner and when the course, and then when they logged in and logged out, and how much time they spent in that course. And that's important. We do have clients that do need to report that, maybe for a state entity or for accreditation, and they need a certain number of minutes, and they need to prove that was in a course. So this kind of reporting can do that for you, especially for compliance training and things like that. So that's kind of fun. Last tab that I'm going to show was just a report. And you can also embed reports in here. And when you open them up, reports you often filter. So this one we have time spent by course, so how much we were spending in courses. Then the same one that I just showed you. But if I wanted to filter it in different ways, over here the filters are available to me. So I could do it by position. I could do it by, well, we could try this. Let's see if there's enough data for accounting and just see. And we'll apply that. There may not be, nope, not enough data. But then I could have looked at how much time accounting spent on it. So I'll get rid of that filter. I could look at a person. So let's look at myself. And then let's see if we can get any data down here. Let's try resetting just once because and yeah, if you have questions, put those in the chat too, because that'll help all of us think about different ways that we might use this. Other ways that I could filter is by course category. So let's say that I want to see what time was spent in the eClass for Learning courses. Let's see if we can find any data there. Now again, I don't have a lot of data in my demo site, so it may not give us some. Okay, finally we got some. Okay, so yeah, so you can see that dynamically changed. And then I could even do it by course, so I know that this one is in there. And let's see if that one has any. And it may not. It's a fairly new course. Okay, a little bit. So I love how dynamic and clickable and fast it is, and how the filtering is just right there on the side. That's pretty cool. Okay, any questions so far? You guys are a quiet group. Okay. If not, I'm going to go to the back end and show you how I make these things, because it's really not difficult at all. If I go back to my dashboard here, I have a single sign-on button for launching Zoola for the back end. And you can give permissions to the people that you feel should do that. So maybe instructors are going to do that. And there are some great built-in help, but if you work with eClass for Learning, we'll onboard and help you set up your first reports too. But I did find these 3 videos very helpful. So there's kind of 3 aspects to this. An ad hoc view is sort of your playground of your workspace, and it basically shows you, and let's just go in there, everything in the database that we could play with and take. Now it starts out with a whole bunch that are already pre-made that we can play with. So here's one that I was playing with. Well, actually, let's do a different one. Let's just do active users chart count view, and we'll look at that. And so it's going to load it up, and then we are able to play and see, and it gives us some data to start with. And so everything is drag and drop. And if we wanted to add different things, we could. Right now it's in a chart. Let's make it a table. And let's add, let's see, number of logins, user. Let's just say, not that this makes a whole lot of sense, let's add city to it. And so now it'll add, you can see the city of Port Washington is getting added in there. So it's just very easy to drag and drop and filter. And if I like what I've done, then what I can do is I can save it, right? And you won't be able to save over the masters that I'm using because that would wreck it for everybody. Instead, I'm going to the eClass for Learning, and I can make it a report if I want, which is the next level that we'll use for making our dashboard, okay? So if I go, I'll cancel this and cancel it. If I go back to my main Zoola screen, um, the next level up is the reports, and reports can be scheduled, reports can be pulled into dashboards, and they can be configured too. And so they have a lot of existing ones that we can look at. And then here's one I think that I was working on today, so we can look at that one. And again, we can modify it um, and work on it, but reports can be scheduled, which is really nice. And this one is empty, so maybe that's good. Let's filter it by some things. So it wants to know, if you want to see assignment submission, probably wants to know what course are we talking about. So let's go with, or even what assignment. Let's go with this one because I know I have an assignment in there. And then let's apply, well then let's figure out, okay, what, and then let's also, I know this course has been out there for a while, so make it a little bit longer, and let's try applying it. Boom. And then there's my report, and then if I wanted to, I can save it to eClass for Learning, and I can use it later on. Okay, so then the next level is creating dashboards, and there's a lot of existing ones, but I'll show you how I created the administrator one, because this is really fun. These are all the things that I have that I can pull from. Some of them were in Zoola, some of them I modified or created earlier today. So I know that I have one about login statistics. So let's see if we can find that one. And let's go here. Let's see. Let's do login chart view and see what that looks like. And if we don't like it, we can always delete it. This is the fun part. Okay, that looks pretty fun. So then I can resize them and move things around, and it'll automatically resize for me so that everything looks good. It's just so easy to use. So then I also used a course enrollment. So let's try under course. Engagement, course enrollment chart. All right, let's see what that looks like. And we can pull that in. And it's thinking. Um, okay, that looks pretty fun. And so I'm going to resize this to about the same size here because I want to do a few more. Let's do active users. It's a good one to do. It was one that I had. So let's do a chart. Throw that in. Yeah. Now let's do one more. Let's do a site count. And then see if we can find that one. Okay, site count of active users, and let's throw that in. Hopefully that's going to work out for us. It did. Okay, and that one was a table. So let's say I like this, and by the way, we can always move things around and reconfigure them, and it's just so easy to make a dashboard. You can look like a rock star to your staff. Then we can save it. So let's save this to eClass for Learning, and we'll name it, save dashboard. We'll call this practice admin. And then I'm going to put it in my dashboards so that my folders for eClass for Learning stay nice, and then I can find things. And we'll save that. That should go. Save. Good. Okay. So then when I'm back here, when I was on, if I go back to this dashboard, let's see if we can get it added. In this configuration here of Learner Analytics, I can go to my Configure Analytics box and I can find it. Um, and so first, these are all reports that could go in, and then we get into dashboards. And we call this one Practice Admin. So we'll add it over here. Like I said, this is not rocket science. I think your learners will be really impressed, and I think it really brings the LMS alive and gives you usable data at your fingertips that can be manipulated. But it's not hard to do at all. And then practice admin, let's just see what that looks like. And yeah, again, you guys are very quiet. If you have questions, please put them in the chat because I think we'd all appreciate knowing what you're thinking about and what your use cases are. Okay, here it comes. And it's thinking. And here it comes. Yeah. If you would like a personal demo too for your organization, or if you'd like us to build some reports to see how they'd work for you, just let us know that. We'd be happy to do it. Hopefully this is coming soon. Sometimes the first time they do take a couple seconds, so that's why I preloaded ours. But then after that, they come up really quick. And you have to think that it's, getting live data sources right out of the database. And boom, there it is. And if we go back to the dashboard, then it's linkable for whoever we give permission right here to see it. Or if we wanted to put, you can even put a whole dashboard into a block too, then we can put it in there. Any questions about Zoola? We'll be doing more webinars and more things that you can do, so be looking for those. Like I said, I'd be happy to help out or do more demos with you. I'm just very impressed at how easy the tool is to use. And with that, if no one has questions for me, I hope you have a great rest of the afternoon. And I'll be sending the recording to you either later today or early tomorrow. So thanks so much.